Willie, congratulations on the new role. You've had your feet under the table officially for a couple of weeks now. How has it been so far?
So it's been really busy. It's been fantastic and I've really enjoyed it. Really early on it was important that I met with the top referees. I wanted a period of consultation about a variety of things, but particularly about some of their directives, some of their decision making going forward. So after speaking with the referees, I also spoke with the managers and coaches at the Premiership clubs. Particularly the reason for going to them first and foremost was because of their direct involvement around about VAR and the competition that VAR is used. And also went through that consultation process with them. I told them what the referees were thinking moving forward, what we were thinking in terms of referee operations moving forward, and what their perspective was in some decisions. And I feel that we've kind of reached a consensus, but I'm very aware that that's at the top level of the game. We're also have a focus in the next 7 or 8 days. We'll be meeting with the coaching staff from the lower league clubs, and we've also been visiting local associations and local competitions. So been a hectic time, a really busy time, but a really enjoyable time as well.
There's been some early chat and some early headlines around the creation of a specialised VAR post. Now I know from talking to you off camera that was something that you were minded to drive through from your perspective, but there's general consensus over the importance of a dedicated role like that.
So most countries that are operating with VAR have a dedicated lead person for VAR. I felt that was something we were probably missing, and we are in the process of recruiting for that post. I think it will lend weight to the importance that role will play in leading in VAR. It will still be under my direction, but importantly that person will have responsibility not just on a weekly basis for the operations in Clydesdale House, but also about our strategy for developing the next batch of referees, VARs and assistant VARs. We're like any club, we need to look at our talent pipeline, we need to look at who's coming through, and we need to get the next generation of match officials ready to be able to referee using VAR and also to act as VAR.
But understandably VAR is something that gets a lot of attention, so it's easy to overlook the other aspects of your job, and I suppose the creation of that full-time VAR post frees you up for some of the bigger picture stuff. Can you maybe give us some of the other areas that you're going to have a focus on, VAR aside?
So a big focus for me, of course it coincides with VAR, but is about match officials' performance and decision making on field. People can get bogged down a lot about VAR and the interpretation of VAR and lines intervention, but first and foremost we are being very proactive at delivering a really intense coaching programme to our top match officials about getting decisions right in the field. That must be our first approach at all times. We're dedicated to that. VAR's a safety net, but first and foremost we want our referees and our assistant referees to make sure they're getting the decisions right on field. We also know that we have other avenues in refereeing that are a big part of my remit about recruitment and retention. Really big for us to look at recruiting referees, making sure we're retaining them, and everything else that goes with that, making sure that at grassroots level, right up to the top level of the game, there's appropriate coaching, there's appropriate direction, there's a support network, and that referees definitely feel part of something, they feel part of our team.
Yeah, because again, that grassroots level participation is something that maybe gets overlooked, but at least you've walked a mile in their shoes. You can relate to people at every level.
I've been speaking to the clubs recently in the pre-season guidelines, and I've been talking about everybody's responsibility to protect the image of the game, and that filters down through all levels.
There are a couple of things that have come out of the Euros in terms of, we hear the phrase higher line for intervention, and obviously there's been the process where the captain is maybe freed up to speak to the match official. Are these other areas that you're going to explore further?
We're definitely exploring further the captain approach. There's some trials proposed by IFAB, but in the meantime it's really positive for me that the SPFL have agreed with us to adopt that approach for the opening day of the league season across all divisions and all competitions within the SPFL. And you're right to mention the line of intervention. We've had a particular focus around about handball recently when we've been speaking to the clubs and speaking to the referees, and that's something we want to set a higher bar on in terms of intervention around about handball, and I feel like we're on the same page at the moment. We want to move towards a football understanding of handball, but I keep reminding everybody that we need to keep a balance there also about what the laws of the game are and what the directives are that we're getting. But we would like to approach it a bit more from a football expectation perspective.
And just finally, how's the transition been from one side of the fence to the other? Are they calling you gaffer, or?
No, there's no any names for me. They maybe call me some other things that I'd rather not mention. But I think for me, it's a big step to leave the field. I was in the field for about 31 years and I'll really miss it. I keep telling the referees the best place to be is on the pitch, to embrace that, to enjoy it. But this is the next best thing for me, and all the energy I've thrown into refereeing in the past and being in the field and that high level of preparation, I'll throw everything into this role to improve in Scottish refereeing.